Jeez. Oh, okay, so I am recording this. A little hiccup there just now because I launched this without doing everything right. I forgot to put all that in there. Oh, it's too late now. I'm redoing it. Nope. Okay. So, this is the Nicole Howard Show. Episode 11, but live stream 7. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that. I could actually do 2 more after this. Okay, so, what's going on? Oh, right. This is going to be a really exciting show since my mind is totally distracted. Sorry, my cat. I know I talk about my animals and stuff, but you know what? You should like that about me. My cat has, it turns out, diabetes. That's why he's lost weight. This is where I was talking about the other day, the fact that these places take advantage of our love for our pets and rip us off. I had to spend $120 more, even though he just had blood work done, to do more blood work on the blood work they've already got. Oh, yeah. And, that's weird. Oopsies. I've clicked buttons. There we go. So, of course, I had to do it, and then I said, well, "Let's talk. What's the prognosis? You know, how do we treat this, and how expensive is it?" Well, there's the best we recommend, and that's $1,000 a month. I said, not an option. Moving on. What's the next one? I'm not loving my lighting here. And she said, well, there's a little better one that's just shots. You have to give them shots, and there's a pill form, but she doesn't recommend that. So, yeah. I said, so I don't know. This might be $500 a month since the good stuff's $1,000. I don't know. He's 17 years old. I'll figure something out. Because I know people who've had diabetes, cat's diabetes, and they were not wealthy, and they were able to treat it. So, I should be able to figure this out. But yeah, I just think it's ridiculous how much. And the companies out there, you know, covered for pets. It's for young pets, for if your car, you know, cats, you know, dog gets hit by a car. That's the only time it really benefits you. And most of the time you have to pay the vet, and then they'll reimburse you. Might reimburse you. If your cat's over a certain age, they won't even look at you. If it's got a previous condition, which they require vet records, they won't talk to you. You know, it's just, it's not a great system that they've come up with. And there's a lot of pets in America. There's more pets than there are humans. Pretty sure. And like I said, I think animals are therapy, personally. So, yeah, I think that, I think it's sad when this kind of stuff happens. And I've been to the vet when I saw somebody come in with a really nice Newfoundland. Actually, it was a Landseer, which is the black and white ones. He looked fine. He didn't seem to have any, but you know, he had just gotten out of the car. He hadn't been walking around much, but he didn't seem to be limping. And I said, "Oh my gosh, you know, he's so great." And they were here to put them down. I said, "Why? What's wrong with him?" I was expecting he had something terminal. They said, "Well, he's got some arthritis in his hips." And I'm like, "That's it? Arthritis?" They have laser treatment here, and that laser treatment at that time, which I've spoken about, was for my dogs, Shepherd's degenerative myelopathy, was $25 for 3 treatments. And that can't be right. three treatments. It was individually like 35, or you can do three treatments for 75. 75 a month, not that expensive with how expensive stuff can be out there. Uh, and they were like, no. And they were driving a decent car. They were in their 50s. They didn't want to deal with it. So they put the vet down. Now, I would be the vet that said, all right. And then I would sedate the crap out of the dog and say, he's passed. And then I would wake him up and keep him or find a home for him. I know you can't do that, but that's why it's a good thing I'm not a vet. And there are vets that do shady things like that. My mom worked for a vet. They called him Doc. Doc was from Hungary, and he was old school vet. Kind of like, have you ever seen The Incredible Dr. Pol? He's not too far from here. He plays for the most part by the rules, but this guy in downstate did not, in Oakland County. But Dr. Pol has some very old school remedies that work better than some of the new ones. But newer, newly trained vets don't even know about them because it's just not taught anymore. Anyway, this vet that she worked for also had a boarding facility in the back, and the lady that ran that was kind of nutty. Uh, like they had a dog that was really vicious, a Doberman that they took care of that was just terrifying. But it was a beautiful Doberman. And apparently, somebody brought in, they would bring their pets in to get pregnant and say, here, take our dog and our female, and you guys do it. And so they had two Dobermans dropped off, and the dog, the male, wanted no part in it. He was like, no, I'm not into that, which does happen in the animal world, believe it or not. I've seen two male horses really love each other multiple times, especially if they're the same color. They're very racist about it. My horse was a black horse. He was mean to every horse he ever met. He's just a jerk. And then he met my mom's new horse, who was black. And you could hear Barry White in the background. Because they were like, oh, they were so happy to see each other. Like they were from a long lost past. And then their things were hanging out and slapping on their bellies. And it was like, oh my God, what is going on here? It was love at first sight. And there was these two white horses at a barn I used to run. That same thing. The one horse would freak out if the other one had to go be ridden without him, and he'd, oh my God, he's back. But he would sit there all night staring through the slits in his stall, watching him. Didn't watch any other horse, just that one. Uh, anyway, so and we even had cats that did some very peculiar things. I have multiple cats. Like humping each other. Just nothing can happen, but it's two boys doing it. I don't know. I think when you take their hormones away at a young age, they get confused, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's a sign of affection. I've never actually had a conversation with any of the animals about why they do that. But he says, go, this Doberman's like not interested. And Doc says, go grab whatever this dog's name was. And my mom's like, what? He goes, go grab him. So she's like, okay. That dog did it right away. And the bloodlines forever were tainted. Completely tainted. Because the dog they thought that had just done whatever actually hadn't. So, yeah. Exciting stuff, right? And I'm sure that's gone on a lot. So you don't really know that you have papers saying this is the parents. That's not always the case. Well, especially if it's backyard breeding, which means somebody got a purebred dog, got the papers, and decided they're going to start they're going to make money basically off of it, which a true breeder doesn't do it to make money. I mean, some of them do make good money and have pretty big operations, but they do it to better the breed and to compete in their crazy dog shows. So, in any case, yeah, that was an example of that getting and I mean, I know of people's dogs that they don't even know which dog did it. Anyway, this is getting way too much about animals and breeding, but where did I start with all this? Oh, vets and their hmm, ethic, ethnic abilities. I think vets are ripping us off now. I think they've lost touch with why they're vets sometimes, some of them. And it's become a big, I mean, they're, like I said, they're making good money and taking advantage of. There's one vet that's at the practice I go to. He sincerely seems like a really nice guy. But you can never get into him because he now just does emergencies there. He's got to be working at another practice, and I got to find out where he is and switch to that one. Because there's no way he's making a living 1 day a week. He's only working on Fridays at that place. So I'm gonna do my research tomorrow. And maybe switch places because I'm not loving this place right now and the prices and just all of it. $72 for checking his blood pressure. That's just thievery. I went off about this yesterday. I'm going to do it again. $72 to check a cat's blood pressure. Come on. That's more than therapists make by the hour. I mean, it takes 5 minutes to do that crap. And it's not like some of this stuff costs a lot because the instruments they use cost tens, hundreds of $1,000s, and they're paying that down. The stuff to do a blood pressure check is cheap. You can buy it on Amazon for under $100. And maybe theirs is more expensive because theirs is professional, but whatever. So I'm worried about my cat. And he seems kind of, I catch him just sitting in my room staring. I'm thinking, what are you staring at, buddy? I thought he might have stuff, audio issues, but he just blocks me out because I'll be like calling his name and I'll finally get his attention by waving my arms and, oh, hi. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's his ears. And his ears are fine because he'll come out and have a whole conversation with me and take all the prompts. Or if I call him and I'm in another room, he'll show up. So he can hear. He can hear. He just sometimes chooses to ignore me. I think that all cats do that at any stage in their life. So, latest and greatest going on now. It's Thursday, October 9th. And let's think. I'm trying to think right now. What's going on in this crazy world? There's still stuff in DC's going on, and the solution is yelling at each other and ridiculous arguments that are getting us nowhere. I don't think that's a solution to anything. I think people need to sit down and get along. But there is peace going on in the Middle East right now, it appears. So that's and we just went past the 2-year anniversary since October 7th. And those of you that don't know what happened on that date, well, we've been living under a rock apparently. Look it up. So, yay. This is something. But you know what? You know, at times I feel like I've heard this before. There's going to be peace, and everybody's agreed, and then next thing you know, everybody's in a big fight again. So when it finally goes through, then I'll believe it. I feel like that with a lot of stuff. Gas prices actually have gone down. That's good. They sometimes, but you know what? They always go down this time of year. I can't give Trump a whole lot of credit. They always go down in October and November, every year. But maybe if they stay down, then yeah, he gets some brownie points for this one. And again with the peace deal, then great. And like I said, I'm not a big huge. I mean, I support Trump, but I'm not a. Everything he does is go. You know, some people don't care what he does. He's great. I've with any leader we've had, I've never agreed with everything, and I think that's kind of the way. That's a normal view. You pick the one that you agree with more, and have more faith in that they can do the things that you want to see done with our country and its people. Yeah. So that's my feelings on that. And again, I wish people would get more mature about just sitting down and having a conversation about all this stuff. Because the fighting and the arguing going on, it's just getting us nowhere. And the name calling's really gotten out of hand. I don't want to hear some of the names I've heard unless I'm in English class in college or high school. Maybe even middle school. That's the only time you should hear that. Realistically. unless you're an author and you're working on a book about the person, or you do TV shows for the History Channel, and that's what the show's about. Otherwise, don't need to hear that all the time. Uh, it's become like normal to hear some of the terminology out there, and that's very not great. I sound so educated here. I it's late. I've had a long week. It's Thursday. I really need to just get a nice long night's sleep. I got a few hours last night, or well, today, because by the time I got done with my regular job, it was 9 a.m. before I went to bed. And then I had to get up and do a bunch of stuff so I could be ready for tonight. And now I'm once again a little bit behind tonight. Now I hope to have this thing running at 9 p.m. at least, and then I'm gonna get it going at 7 p.m. But I'm doing this in stages because this is a big adjustment on my schedule. Plus, I'm working two technically jobs. This would be so much easier if it was just this. But the only way that would ever happen is if I win the lotto. Otherwise, I'm gonna be working another job, especially with now the new expenses coming up with my cat. His kidneys are good though. That was what I was more concerned about. His kidney levels, his creatine or something was 2.2, and now it's 2, which is like pretty shocking. But I give them exactly what they told me to put him on for his kidneys, and it's working. So yeah. Yesterday I went on a big tangent about, well, animals. Uh, I I think, like I said, some people that have watched this say to steer clear of the politics. When I finally get this, where people, this would be so much more entertaining if I had in the top, and this is why I have to get a normal schedule going. I get that. In the chat right now that I'm staring at, because I can see people could come on right now and watch me. People that are going to see this are going to watch the video that I post later. Um, and then they post questions and we can have a conversation, and whoever wants to join in can join in, and some people might just want to watch the conversation. Great. Just pulling stuff out of my mind. This is hard because I have extremely aggressive ADD that was never treated when I was younger. How my teachers missed it, as well as my parents, I'm not entirely sure. Oh, but yeah, I have ADD big time. In fact, and then I have some other little characteristic quirks. I mean, I've brought up, I'm not Sheldon Cooper genius, but I mean, I'm smart enough, but not in that category. However, some of his eccentricities, I don't know if I can't pronounce it right now. I have had a long time, well before I saw the show, because there was an episode where he had to get a cast signed. He broke his arm and got his cast signed by his sister, and he looks and she said, "Hope your arm gets better," and she did it YOU apostrophe RE, and he goes, "That's you are. That's not your. What you just said is, I hope you our arm gets better." She's like, "Oh, sorry. Well, I guess that's your problem. YOUR." And walks away, and oh my god, that would have been me. I would have been like, "Oh, that's not proper English, and you just signed it on my cast. I can never read. I can't get a new cast. I can't believe you just did that to me." Oh, yeah. I could see myself totally flipping about it. Or he sensed when the bread was different on his peanut butter jelly sandwich. I had a real fit about that. Everyone else thought it tastes the same to them. And then he figured out why it tasted different. Because the new company had bought it and they were making cheaper products. And in the end, he finally ended up liking it. But I would have been the same way. I am like that now. Because I have figured out certain manufacturers of the cereal I like, because I lost a lot of weight when I got my self together with drinking and all that. And I told myself, because I've done so many diets, that I need to allow myself something each day. Because otherwise I just deprive, and then I go on a binge and gain a bunch back. So I have only little bowls, Cinnamon Toast Crunch every day. But I noticed some of the times I'd have it, I'd be like, well, this sucks. This isn't like I have. Why does it taste different? Figured out it's the factory it's made in. And so you can tell by the expiration date. I went off about this already once. So that is why things aren't consistent from one product to the next, or the same product. I don't know. With this quality control, it should just all be the same, but it's not, or pretty darn close. There's some drastic differences. Like the one cinnamon toast crunch in the like normal size, that sucks. And there's often really hard pieces in there that can break your teeth. I don't get why they're getting away with that. Um. Anyway, so yeah, I had a plate, and if I already mentioned this, I don't know. I gotta keep track of some of my stories here. That I think I did mention. I didn't like my food touching, not because I was like weird, like OCD. I didn't like my food touching because I didn't like something that was sweet touching something that was salty. Sometimes that can work out okay, but not raspberry relish, cranberry relish, Thanksgiving, and mashed potatoes and gravy. That doesn't go together. So my parents got me for Christmas a divider plate, and it worked lovely. And it gave some other people great ideas. People who come visit, they're like, "That's a good idea." Now, looking back on those comments, I'm fairly certain, since they never went and bought their own, even though I told them where they could go buy it for cheap, that they were somewhat humoring me while making fun of me slightly. But it went right over my head. Like often things like that do. hmm Anyway, that was a great plate. I wonder if they still make those. I'm sure they do. Not that I need it. I eat lean cuisines most nights, and I also like breakfast sandwiches. I take those apart. I like to have the meat as like make it into an actual breakfast. The egg separate, the meat separate, and then the biscuit, and put like butter and jelly, jam, jelly, whatever on it. But some people just eat it as a sandwich. The only thing I don't dismember is pizza. That can stay together. hmm Yep. Or tacos. I guess I leave those together too. But that kind of is supposed to be like that. Or sandwiches that stays together. I don't have to individualize all of that. Maybe some of the people watching this will be like, "Wow, this chick's really fun to watch because she's kind of a nutball." I told you I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested, but I am a bit off on stuff. I admit it. But that's what makes knowing me entertaining, I think. And, I think all women are slightly crazy. They just keep it in better than me. Because I'm not really trying to stay. I'm not trying to just be how everybody else is, because that would be so much work. I just am me. I guess that's the only way to put it. So, yeah, I let the goofiness out more than others do. And I talk about it. It's just really not ever been good at not talking and just letting it out. Sometimes I say things I probably shouldn't and share more things than I should. And I've gotten a lot better. I used to say way too much. Like checking in to get, I don't know, my tires done. And I'm pretty soon I'm having a conversation with the guy about uh, summer events that went on that summer that all started from something to do with tires, and it's 5 minutes later, and he looks like he doesn't know what to do. That kind of stuff. That was just too much. Although then I've watched my mom, and when the neighbor will stop by or whatever UPS guy shows up, she does the same thing. She she talks, and I'll find, and I'm like very aware of how she's doing it, and I'll be like, "Hey, he wants to go. Stop talking. Let's go." And uh, whatever people that talk to her have always loved her. So, I mean, I've had friends, lots of them. They're like, "I love your mom." Okay, thanks. Guys had crushes on her. A little too big of a crush, but and she's always been fun. She's fun to talk to. But she does kind of talk more than some people are willing to sit there and have the time to talk about whatever they're talking about at that time. She's talking about. Not dissing her or giving her flaw, because if anything, my dad doesn't talk enough, and that drives me nuts. So I'd rather have my mom who talks more than my dad who doesn't talk hardly at all. Well, there's Anakin. Oh, good. He ate his canned cat food. Hey, buddy. I see you. Well, he wasn't eating his food, but it's a new batch. Once again, Royal Canin, every once in a while, a batch of their canned food is junk. As soon as you open the can, you can see it's not as much gravy. The ratio of meat to gravy is different. And it starts to stink really quick after you put it in the bowl, like within an hour. And he won't touch it. And I don't blame him. It's different. But Chewy's always been very good about replacing it. But it's really Royal Canin's issue, not Chewy. They can't control. They don't open every can and look at it before they ship it to you. That should be quality control department once again. And I don't think Royal Canin's made in Canada. A lot of these other foods I've mentioned, human foods that have issues, are made in America. I think that, you know, some of the quality has dropped. I think everyone listening can agree. Well, some of you may be too young. Appliances have drastically changed. I mean, there's refrigerators used to live 30 years. Now, refrigerators are basically disposable. I mean, you might get 10 years out of one if you get a good brand and take good care of it. Okay, and I can do whatever you want. But you know, old school refrigerators just we've got an old crappy like mini fridge out in the garage that is brown and from I'm pretty sure the 70s. And it still works just fine. A little noisy, but it works. So, uh, refrigerators, ovens, blenders, blow dryers used to last way longer. And wow, people didn't use them as much curling irons as they used to use rollers back in the day. But I just had a set of rollers from the 70s that if I were to go plug in right now, they still work. From the 70s. I know, buddy. Say hi to everybody. We were just talking about you. Yep. He's a good boy. Yeah. I don't know. He said hi. He's a good cat. I know you can barely see him because he's got the backdrop going. But I said I named him Mannequin because he's all black with one white toe. Like, there's the toe. Yeah. Yep. So he's black like Darth Vader, but there's a little bit of good in Darth Vader at the end that saved Luke. And that's Anakin still revealing himself. Anyway, good cat. And he's been through a lot with me. 17 years old. I mean, my goodness. Yeah, I agree, pal. I could be a real jerk back then too. I'm thinking back to when I got him. Um, how much is gone? How much went on with him? Uh, it's just amazing. And then I can't even. Some animals live like 80, 90 years. They outlive the human. Um, so it would be nice if animals did live longer. So they could stick around longer because, I mean, he's just been around so long. And my other cats, because they had all the issues I spoke about yesterday. I think my other two cats each only made it 3, 4 years old. And so, yeah, it's a little different. But he's a good boy. Very good. And he's smart. And you know what? He's smarter than cats don't. They He's figured stuff out. Like he used to come out when I'd work out, and he knew when to finally come out because he knew wait for the power down and slow down to the walking speed. He doesn't do it anymore because I don't know. We have a different routine now, I guess. But he would come out at just the right time, and it was time that I was going to get off the treadmill. So yeah, very clever. Anyway, all right. Well, I've rambled on now for half an hour for no reason about all kinds of fun stuff. Thank you for watching the Nicole Howard Show. I am gonna go. So, I promise next week I'll have it more together. Thank you for enjoying. Okay, which one am I supposed to? I have to do the recording first and then the broadcast. Okay, have a great night. Thank you. Yeah. And then, oh, that was weird. I gotta stop the streaming. Okay, thank you. Oh, that's right. I have to click this twice. Oh! I don't think anybody's watching, so it doesn't really matter. Huh. We'll see what happens. Okay, yeah, I can do that. 5. 8 plus 4. That would have been... No, that's not right. It was 3. Make 11. Yeah. Interesting. No way. I charge the crap out of these earbuds. Very strange. Okay. Alright, yep, thank you. Oh.